I'm about to teach you how to easily get more kills in your matches. It is one simple concept that is going to completely transform how you play Valorant. And in fact, this concept is so important that it'll even make high elo matches feel predictable. To explain this, let's take a look at this ace from TenZ. Many of you have probably seen this by now, but I wanted to talk a bit about why TenZ is able to simplify Valorant and make stuff like this look so easy. TenZ is very visibly annoyed in this clip because Valorant ranked isn't the most competitive thing in the world. Even at the top level, matchmaking can be incredibly predictable. When we look at this clip, I don't want to talk about TenZ's aim or the way that he takes these fights. Instead, what I want to talk about is how this Jett player tells TenZ exactly where the remaining players are in this round. When we zoom out and we look at the map, this is probably how the average player sees it at the start of the round. They aren't really sure where anyone could be, and realistically, enemies could be anywhere. For all we know, there could be 5 players fighting mid right now, which is entirely possible. In theory, there could be 5 players mid right now. However, in practice, that's not really how matchmaking works. You see, part of the reason TenZ is frustrated in this clip is because players don't play matchmaking like they would with an actual competitive setting. Specifically, TenZ is frustrated because players in matchmaking have no understanding of the concept of risk versus reward. However, what I wanted to focus on in this video was actually the other reason matchmaking is very low quality, which just comes down to coordination. When you queue into a match, you're lucky to get one player on your team who talks, much less a whole team who is talking out strategy. For this reason, players in matchmaking are often forced to play what is thought of as standard. In pro play, what you're going to see is players coordinate utility and oftentimes even leave areas of the map open in an attempt to play on the other side of the map with increased numbers. But in matchmaking, nobody talks to each other, so for that reason, what you're going to encounter is normally fairly predictable. When we go back and we look at our map example, although this is what the average player sees when they look at the map, this is what a Radiant player sees when they look at the map. This is what a standard setup would look like. One player A, one player tree, one player mid, and one player B. With this in mind, the struggle isn't necessarily to locate all 5 players. Instead, the goal is to locate the floater player, who could be anywhere. This player is oftentimes a duelist who will look to fight one of the 4 choke points with his teammates. In this case, the floater is Jett. By locating the floater, you can make very accurate assumptions about where the other players on the team are. This is why after these 2 kills, TenZ immediately turns his attention towards Catwalk, knowing that there should be a player in Tree looking to trade out these kills. Then, after killing the Tree player, TenZ books it into Heaven looking to kill the B rotator. He ends up finding the kill onto the A player rotating towards mid, which isn't exactly who he was looking for, but you'll notice this is why immediately after landing this kill onto KO, he immediately starts running towards B. Because if the Cypher player is not B, that means that they left B entirely open, because he killed 3 players mid and they killed 1 leaving A. These standard setups exist on every map, and it makes it so your goal in matchmaking isn't exactly to locate all of the enemy players, rather it's just to locate the floater. Because once you know where the floater is, you know exactly where everyone else is. And in our brand new course on the SkillCapped website, we will show you exactly all of the standard positions on every single map and how you can abuse them just like TenZ does here. Keep in mind that all of TenZ's gunfights in this round were still really good fights, and you still need to focus on making sure that you have the advantage in all of your gunfights. But by understanding how matchmaking works, you can easily run over teams, especially in low elos. One watch through this course on our site, and not only will you learn exactly where all of your enemies are going to play, but you'll also learn some amazing tricks top players use to remember all of this information when the rounds get hectic. We've got some neat little coaching tricks that we'll teach you from our years of coaching that you can apply in your games today to start climbing instantly. All this is backed by a rank improvement guarantee, so if you don't climb while actively using our service, you will get your money back, no questions asked. There is more value than ever in our site subscription right now, so take advantage of it while you can. For the rest of the video though, what I want to do is showcase to you why it is so important that you understand this concept. It all has to do with timings in the round. You see, for the most part, low elo players really struggle with how important it is to be fast when you do things. You have to think that all the time when you're doing something, your opponents are also doing things. So the moment that we start our execute onto C, the defenders start to rotate over to help. This can be really bad if we take too long on our execute. For example, if we make a ton of noise and then we just twiddle our thumbs for 20 seconds, when we do end up going in, there will likely be 4 defenders waiting for us. This is one of the reasons that mollies and smokes are so effective at stopping pushes, because the moment that we get mollied, we are suddenly stalled for around 8 to 10 seconds. If your whole team gets stuck behind a molly in your game, you realistically have 2 options. You can rotate out and use this opportunity to find an opening somewhere else. Keep in mind that if the defenders are rotating towards C, you should be able to find an opening somewhere else. Or you can cut noise, and I mean cut noise, and try to re-hit after the molly fades. If your whole team does not stop making noise, the defenders will know that you are still C, and they will absolutely be stacked there waiting for you. As we talked about before, coordination can be a hard thing to come by in matchmaking, so I suggest leaving if you get mollied, but basically these are your two options. However, if your team is able to beat the molly, or you get into sight quickly into the round, this can be incredibly advantageous because you can now make really accurate assumptions on where every defender should be. For example, take a look at this other round from TenZ. This one takes place on bind, which is a little bit different since there's no mid, but it still functions in a similar way. TenZ starts out the round by killing the showers player, and then hears a player back sight and sees a player in U-Haul on the map. As the round progresses, you'll see TenZ dashes into the smoke on sight and then swings it as he hears Brim running away. TenZ only knows where two players on the enemy team are right now, so there's no way he knows that this is safe to swing this smoke. Except, he kinda does. He's only 20 seconds into the round, and he already spotted all three players on A. So unless they only had one player B, it's pretty likely that there's nobody back sight right now to punish this swing. Now, it is possible the defenders could have rotated from B right now, but he didn't hear anybody running in from heaven, so this is most likely a relatively safe peek to make. But it's only safe because he understands where the remaining players should be. Sure enough, as the round progresses, we find out they were both flanking, which is something else that you're going to have to juggle when you're practicing this concept. The defenders don't have to just rotate through spawn, and depending on the map, there are different rotations that they might make, as well as different times that it will take for each one. This is actually something that we cover in our course on the site, where we showcase exactly all of the common rotation routes that players might take, so that this way you know how to adapt to them. What you need to know for now is that basically since TenZ didn't hear any rotates coming in from spawn, this is a big sign that the defenders could have been flanking. Because 20 seconds is around the time that he should be hearing something spawn, and if he's not, that means that they are likely somewhere else. Once again though, keeping in mind that the goal when practicing this is not to locate all 5 players, you're looking for the extra player. In this round, it wasn't the Jet and it wasn't the Brimstone. The extra player was the one that his teammates spotted in U-Haul. This is because it's very unlikely that the defenders could have left one person alone on B, because this is just how matchmaking works. If they leave one person on B, he's going to start crying about how he needs help since he has to watch 2 choke points. Even if it's a Sentinel who has utility to help this, they are very likely going to complain about having to watch sight alone. For this reason, the moment that he saw the third player, he knew that he had an opportunity to punish the Brimstone who was making so much noise. It's just unfortunate for the Raze that she had to die for the Brimstone's mistake. The timing in this round though is very important because the longer it takes you to do stuff, the more time that your opponents have to reposition. This is why the earlier in the round that you can make plays, generally the better, because you have a very good idea of what you're looking at. But if you give your opponents too long to cook, things can get a bit scary. For example, take a look at this round. Just to recap, the standard setup on Ascent that you'll be looking at is 1A, 1 tree, 1 mid, and 1 B. The 5th player is generally going to be a floater doubling up somewhere on the map. So our goal is to locate that floater. We're actually going to do this pretty quickly in the round, which is a good thing. However, there is one major issue in our offense right now. We don't have anyone playing top cat. It's important to have somebody playing top cat on offense when you're taking mid, because depending on who is playing A on defense, they are prone to fight for A main. And if you don't see anyone in A main, they could potentially decide to walk up the flank. You'll notice the more time that we give this A player to reposition, the less comfortable this round gets. Because at the start of the round, we knew exactly where this guy was, and it wasn't really a problem. We could have put all of our money that there was somebody playing A. However, 20 seconds into the round, we really need to start wondering, is that guy still A, or did he walk up? He also could have grouped up with the tree player. Maybe he peeked A main, didn't see anything, and decided to double up with his teammate. We really don't know at this point. Early on in the round, you can be pretty sure that there's a player A, but now we don't really know. You can tell that TenZ is thinking about this by the way that he positions. This angle that he picks isn't exactly optimal, but it's just the only one where he's not going to get shot in the back of the head. To showcase how this concept still stands though, let's do a quick head count of where each enemy player was spotted in this round. Chamber and Sova were both spotted B, Reyna was caught peeking market, Jet pushed through a main and flanked catwalk, and Omen ended up blinding out from tree. When we look at our map, this looks strikingly similar to the exact standard setup that we've been saying that you should expect. So even though Jet's flank maybe came at an inconvenient time, it's not exactly something that you can't anticipate. And based off of that, we are now going to take this up another level. Because if you know where players should be, you can know how they are likely to rotate. And you can start thinking about how you can take advantage of these rotates and use it to outmaneuver your opponents. To showcase this, I want to show you a round where I made a massive mistake. Or we're going to call it a happy accident, because I was able to take this mistake and turn it into something good. We start out this round by performing an A rush. The enemy team doesn't really have any mollies, so just hitting sites against them is going to be pretty effective. As we discussed, at most there's really only going to be 3 players in this area, and they don't really have many ways to stop a push in its tracks, so this isn't a horrible idea. That being said, against agents like Fade and Sova, they're going to look to throw recons at when we run in and attempt to spam us through smokes, which is something that we definitely have to look out for. In this case, they do just that, and I'm able to pick up a kill with my stinger by spamming back. After grabbing this kill, I push through the smoke, wanting to grab their bulldog, anticipating that there is only one player in tree based off the resistance that we faced coming in. Because there weren't many players here, I assumed the floater must be somewhere else. This is a pretty big mistake though, because as you can see, I have the spike. I hate carrying spike on Sova, so I kind of just assumed somebody else had it, but nope, it's me. But after I get stuck in tree, I look up at the map and I assess the situation. Because our Omen hasn't taken contact in mid and we took a site, this likely means that the defenders have rotated strictly through spawn. As we mentioned earlier, when we are doing things, so are the defenders. So while we're taking a site, the B players are likely rotating over. Based off of this assumption, I quickly conclude it might actually be possible for us to rotate through mid and take B site for free. Our Omen is in a great spot to cut off rotates in mid, and this round might actually be salvageable. Sure enough, just as expected, we are able to rotate straight over towards B for free and set up a crossfire and spawn to win the round. However, if I wasn't thinking about how the defenders were likely rotating right now, there's no way I just come to the conclusion that we should take B from this position. This call was based entirely on the fact that I was conscious about how the defenders would respond to our A aggression. To showcase the same logic in action, let's again take a look at another round from TenZ on Split. He starts out the round by pushing through A with his teammates, and they immediately get smoked off in main. In response, they decide to take ramps control, but TenZ has already begun to gather information. Sky flashed main, so she's playing on A, and Chamber is playing Heaven, so he's going to be the Heaven player. TenZ then lands a kill onto Jett, who is very likely playing Vents, signifying that Vents is very likely free. This is when he makes the call to go Vents. You'll notice he was absolutely correct since he immediately spots the last 2 remaining players, Raze and Omen, rotating in from spawn, despite him getting this information after making the call. The moment that TenZ kills Jett, he knew exactly where the last 2 players likely were, and was able to quickly make a conclusion for how this team should reposition during the round. Now, it is possible that the B Heaven player could have rotated through mid, but in this case, as long as TenZ's team all goes together through Vents, they can trade out this kill, and they should easily have time to get into B site and get the spike down. And this is kind of why this works, because even if mid isn't free at this point, it's still favorable for TenZ's team, because he's already determined where most of the defenders are. He doesn't need to locate where every single player on the enemy team is, he only needs to know where that floater is, and with that information, he can figure out how to win the round. And I know what some of you are thinking. Well, this only works in super high elo, where players know what they're doing. But the reality is, this just comes down to psychology. That's actually why it works. You're just taking advantage of what feels natural to players. On most maps, there are 4 entrances, and it feels natural to have one person covering each entrance. Here's an example of me abusing the same tactic literally a year ago in a Platinum 1 lobby during an unranked to Diamond climb. We start out the round by spotting Chamber in mid, as well as Fade and Phoenix on B. Based off of this, there should be 1 player in tree and 1 player on A. Since A is the weak side, I smoke tree and we immediately go into an A hit. One major red flag with this push though is that we don't have anyone going A main. Remember, like we said earlier, if somebody has been playing close A, it's very likely that they pushed up. Because of this, you'll notice I'm looking for this A player when I get into sight. Omen ends up peeking us and we grab the kill, and if you look up at the map, you can see that the Jett is peeking Heaven, who was very likely playing Garden before she got smoked off. Once again, when we compare these positions to our standard setup on Ascent, you'll notice it's exactly what we would expect. And if you pair this video with our course over at SkillCapped, that will teach you exactly where the standard setups look like on every single map. You too will be able to win rounds just like this. You'll go from being completely unaware in your rounds to basically seeming like you have wall hacks in just under 30 minutes. Remember, our goal is to help you improve, and if you don't climb while actively using our service, you don't pay. So what are you waiting for? Get started on your road to Immortal, and we will see you there. As always, my name is King, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.